Hi, today I'd like to talk about the doctor's role in the OTH platform. Now, the doctor's role is crucial. The doctor decides the protocol, and the protocol is the system that surrounds the application of remote patient monitoring. So the doctor will decide which patient to enroll in the system. This is part of the protocol because you have to be the right condition with the right symptoms to fit into the protocol. The doctor will decide which measurements you want, which questions you want to ask, and depending on which answers you get, how to react to those. The doctor will decide how to treat you and how to react to the alerts that come in, the red alerts, the yellow alerts, the blue bells, the blue alerts. Whatever comes in, the protocol will define for the nurse how she or he should react to that particular to that particular alert. So the protocol is crucial, but what we are doing here in this system is the practical part, which is the patient pathway. In this case, that is the interaction between the patient and the system. So the doctor and nurses will design the actual pathway for how we will interact with the patients. And this is exactly what I'm going to show you today, how we do that. So I will go into the administrator part and pull up a questionnaire. And the questionnaires here, I will use one I have used before, which is a health test. And I will create a completely new and empty questionnaire for this particular pathway. So I could use one that is already there if I want to edit one and change it, because patients change, so pathways change. So change management is of course a necessity to be able to handle that. But in this case, I will do an empty questionnaire and I will create that from scratch. So having started, I start from scratch. I have a start and have a finish. And the first thing I want to do is to set up a text node to say welcome, to prepare the patient for what is to come. So this is just an example. I'm not going to make it nice and comprehensive, but just to show you how the protocol and how the pathway is set up. So this is the first one we do. The next one we could do is a multiple choice to see if they are well. So I have these three choices that I will register. And in this case, I have set up the node just to register the choices, but don't branch out on it. If I want to branch out, I will go back into the node and I enable the branching option. And now I have a branching opportunity, which means depending on the answer from the patient, I have the opportunity to branch out and do something specific, different in the condition of yes, same, and no. So if they answer yes and same, what I will probably do is to cheer them up and say, oh, that's wonderful. If they're not doing well, that's probably because they feel bad. So in this case, I will have an input node because I want to know what kind of symptoms they experience. I want to know what symptoms they have, and I want them to input some text in my system here to allow me more information about the condition. So I will ask about symptoms. I will probably normally make a more verbose question here, but I'm going to put that up here and put it at the end of the no answer, and probably make the no answer a yellow alert. So the nurse will now be alerted to the fact that the patient felt worse than yesterday and can react accordingly by evaluating the symptoms. And because the patient felt bad or worse, then we will activate the actual measurement regime. In this case, we will set up the measurement for weight. And we're just going to write weight here. We'll probably write prepare for weight, get your Bluetooth weight out, or get your weight and input the data manually. In this case, it will be a manual input, and we could create that, and now we will have a weight node which allows to go from the symptoms observation to the weight measurement and directly to the end. And actually here I have a finished pathway for the patient to get weight measurements into the system for me to react. But I want to have it a bit more intelligent than that. So I'm going to take this one and branch on threshold and say, depending on what kind of weight is input, I want to do different things. If I have a high weight threshold, a red alert, I want to do a blood pressure measurement, assuming the patient has some way of doing that. I will have a blood pressure measurement and set that up, and I will do blood pressure here. It's going to be manual in this case, and we'll set that up. And the red time will now give a red alert to the nurse in the call center, but also prompt the patient to measure the blood pressure. If it is just a yellow warning level, I will probably do something else entirely. I will maybe do let's say an activity test. Yes, let's do that. So we'll just get data from their step counter. If they're wearing one with Bluetooth connection, I will interrogate the device to get the data into the system. If they don't, I will ask them to input it manually, so I get the data anyway. And this will be the yellow one. If they have a normal weight measurement, I'm just going to finish up like so. If they skip, then I can finish up like that, or I could tell them a warning and say, you should not skip your measurements, it's important. And if they have too low weight, and we are triggering the low weight thresholds, we can say, so if they weigh too little, they should speak to dietitian, get some protein-rich food, and we can finish up. And now, as I connected the last nodes, I'm finished with designing the patient pathway, and I can deploy it by saving it. Oh, there's actually a parsing here, so I didn't connect the nodes. That's true, I didn't connect the nodes down here, the activity tracker. Fortunately, the questionnaire builder and the pathway builder all the time parses the result, so I'm not allowed to save something that can't be deployed. So after having found the errors and and fixed that, I can now save it, and it is saved to the system, and I can publish it, and now it is deployed into my patient group and is available for the patients in this patient group to be used. So next time I update it, it will be deployed immediately after I save it and publish it. So the doctor will have a crucial role in designing the pathways for the patients and maintaining those, but the day-to-day work will be done by the healthcare professionals in the call center, which could be doctors, it could also be nurses, as long as we have a unique, identified, responsible clinician or doctor for the patient protocol, which it all falls back on. Then they can implement the actual protocol by having nurses in the call center executing the instructions in the protocol. And this is the practical integration. This is the practical part where we integrate the system with the patient and get data back and forth. So that's really simple, and it can be much more complicated. It can also be simpler, but of course you should always take into account that the doctor is the professional who will decide how the pathway should be put together. Thank you.